How's it going, everybody? I'm Stella Chung, and this is the Weekly Fix, the show where we round up all the gaming and entertainment headlines you may have missed this week. Publisher Take-Two Interactive may have just teased Grand Theft Auto 6's release window, plus we have some more news about the new Mortal Kombat 1. In the entertainment world, the creator of Family Guy has temporarily exited the show, and Arnold Schwarzenegger has a new job at Netflix. Hope you're having an incredibly chill day, and let's jump right into it.
Publisher Take-Two Interactive may have just teased the release window for the next entry in the biggest gaming franchise of all time, Grand Theft Auto 6. It could be on the way as soon as next year. In a press release issued alongside its yearly earnings report, Take-Two shared projections for the coming years, including a massive projection for fiscal years 2025 and 2026. For context, Take-Two's fiscal 2025 will begin in April of 2024. Now, the release dates.
Looking ahead, fiscal 2025 is a highly anticipated year for our company. For the last several years, we've been preparing our business to release an incredibly robust pipeline of projects that we believe will take our company to even greater levels of success. In fiscal 2025, we expect to enter this new era by launching several groundbreaking titles that we believe will set new standards in our industry and enable us to achieve over $8 billion in net bookings. We expect to sustain this momentum by delivering even higher levels of operating results in fiscal 2026 and beyond.
Now, while Take-Two doesn't explicitly name Grand Theft Auto here, it's hard to imagine any other franchise doing this work for them. For one, Take-Two's net bookings this past fiscal year reached $5.3 billion, which was a record annual high. Notably, this record was reached thanks to the contributions of Zynga, which it acquired last year. Prior to this, Take-Two's regular annual net bookings were looking roughly in the $3 billion ballpark and steadily rising. It took the acquisition of a major mobile developer to see them leap over $1 billion in the space of a single year. So, to achieve a goal of $8 billion, Take-Two would need to make significant acquisitions, or release nearly double the amount of games it historically has, or release at least one absolute behemoth of a game. Notably, Take-Two expects to do even better in its takings the following year, something that seems impossible without something like GTA Online built on the foundations of a brand new GTA game to propel its revenue sky high. It's hard to imagine any other franchise or even multiple new games combined doing these kinds of numbers. Now, Grand Theft Auto 5 remains the second best-selling single game of all time behind only Minecraft. It has consistently sold roughly 20 million units a year for the last several years. It currently sits at 180 million copies sold, and GTA Online continues to be a major revenue driver for Take-Two. It's been about 10 years since GTA 5 was released. Developer Rockstar confirmed that GTA 6 was in active development last year, but has otherwise officially kept quiet on its progress. A massive leak late last year showed off some of the incomplete game. So, what do you think? Does it sound like GTA 6 is coming next year? In any case, I wouldn't expect an official announcement during the upcoming summer announcement season alongside all the PlayStation, Xbox, Ubisoft, and other showcases. Rockstar wants to pick a time when it can have the spotlight all to itself. As for a game that has been announced, Warner Bros. And NetherRealm have officially revealed that a rebooted Mortal Kombat 1 will arrive on September 19th this year. It's coming to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, PC, and even Nintendo Switch. A statement reads, the game will introduce a reborn Mortal Kombat universe that has been created by the fire god Liu Kang, featuring reimagined versions of iconic characters as they've never been seen before, along with a new fighting system, game modes, bone-crushing finishing moves, and more. These characters so far include Liu Kang, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Raiden, Kung Lao, Kitana, Mileena, Shang Tsung, and Johnny Cage. NetherRealm has confirmed these characters will be featured in a new story mode, but is yet to reveal what other game modes will be included. A beta will take place in August for those who pre-order any version of the game on PS5 and Xbox Series. Crossplay and cross-progression will be added, but not until after launch. Mortal Kombat 11 was released in 2019, and we gave it a 9 out of 10, calling it the best game in the 27-year-old series thanks to deep, methodical new mechanics and fun story. I agree. I don't play fighting games competitively, but Mortal Kombat 11 had a really great story mode, and I played through the whole dang thing. If Mortal Kombat 1 is similar, I'm on board. At the PlayStation Showcase today, Sony announced a new game streaming device along with wireless earbuds for gaming. Now, for everyone hoping for a Sony competitor to the Nintendo Switch, let's nip that in the bud right away. This is for streaming games from your PS5 to a handheld screen rather than playing anything natively. Think more Razer Edge and less Steam Deck. The games have to be installed on your PS5. This is the Q Lite that's been rumored for a while. It features an 8-inch screen and a controller attachment on either side, making it look like a DualSense controller with a big screen in the middle instead of a touchpad. But what about that touchpad? The photos we've seen so far don't seem to include it, but maybe the screen is touch sensitive. Now, what's the point of a PlayStation streaming handheld that can't play its own games and might have to be kept relatively close to your PS5? Well, maybe for when the TV is already occupied. Or maybe when you want to watch a show while you play a game. I'm not sure I really have a use for this device, but someone out there probably does. To capitalize on the more portable nature of this handheld, Sony also announced some gaming earbuds. We don't know when we'll be able to get our hands on this new way to play PS5 games or how much it will cost, but stay tuned to IGN for more. Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time remake has been rebooted again and is now in the mere conception phase. Furthermore, it will not be shown at the upcoming Ubisoft Forward event on June 12th, and there are no plans to remake any other game in the series. As usual, things are just going great at Ubisoft. Producer Jean-Francois Node said in an interview on Ubisoft's own blog, "Since we took over the project, we've been looking at feedback from the community and finding our own way of delivering the game. Now we're building up the team, defining the priorities, putting prototypes together, testing elements, and looking at how we can include community feedback in the development as well. It's still in an early stage, and players should not expect to hear more about the game this year, but rest assured that we're all putting our strengths and heart into this project." Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time remake was first announced back in September 2020 and was even available for pre-order. However, it has suffered many delays since then. In 2022, the game was delisted from retailers, inciting worries that it was going to be cancelled. Ubisoft clarified that development had moved to a different studio and the game was simply being delayed again. Then Ubisoft started to refund pre-orders for the game, but reiterated that it wasn't being cancelled. Now this latest update confirms that development is starting over once again. It's yet another game that Ubisoft just can't seem to get out the door. Remember Beyond Good and Evil 2? Skull and Bones? Last year, the only notable games that released were the Mario + Rabbids sequel, Just Dance, and Rocksmith. Assassin's Creed Mirage is supposed to arrive this fall. We'll see what Ubisoft has up its sleeve at its showcase next month.
Mortal Kombat 1's official announcement trailer dropped yesterday and it looks amazing, but we weren't given too many details yet. We know the game introduces a new universe created by fire god Liu Kang with reimagined characters, a new fighting system, new modes, and new finishing moves. We also figured there would be new characters, but had no guesses on who they could be. But in an Amazon listing today, the roster of playable characters and cameo characters for MK1's DLC has been leaked. The product listing on Amazon Italy showed there are 6 playable characters and 5 cameo characters, the NPC fighters that assist a player during matches in Kombat Pack 1, the first DLC. The 6 playable characters are said to be Quan Chi, Omni-Man, Ermac, Peacekeeper, Takeda, and Homelander. Oh dear God, we are all so The first cameo characters listed in the leak are Tremor, Johnny Cage, Chameleon, Movado, and Farah. I'm honestly way more interested in the playable character lineup, specifically Peacekeeper, Omni-Man, and Homelander all in the same list. That is actually insane. Omni-Man from the comic and show Invincible proved to be one of the strongest characters to exist, just decimating other superheroes without taking a scratch. Also, spoilers, but the first season of Invincible has been out for 2 years, so I feel justified in saying this, but Omni-Man beat the absolute out of his own son and almost killed him. I would not want to face him in a fight, not even in MK1. But if anyone were to take him on, Homelander would be a pretty good contender. Homelander from The Boys comic and show is absolutely ruthless and is an actual psychopath. But in my opinion, I don't think Homelander is as strong as Omni-Man. For one, Omni-Man is more mentally stable and extremely self-assured, whereas Homelander is a giant baby needing validation from his lack of parents. Actually, maybe he should talk to Batman. But Omni-Man, I feel, could easily take Homelander out. I mean, ultimately, we can put this to the test when MK1 comes out, but now all I can think of is how Omni-Man would probably decimate a lot of other superheroes in the various universes. MK1 continues the tradition of other franchise characters popping into this universe. Remember Mortal Kombat vs. DC? Or The Terminator? We can all now figure out who will beat who in a proper beatdown September 19th when MK1 releases. The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom's first patch, not counting the Day 1 patch, just released, and it's a pretty small one compared to the patches we've seen recently in Jedi Survivor, but it's an important update. There aren't any spoilers here, but there was a main quest in Tears of the Kingdom that would glitch out for some players and keep them from progressing. This patch fixes the problem of players not clearing the main quest, the closed door, even after fulfilling the conditions to advance. The patch notes state the new update will fix the problem even if you've already encountered the issue. So players who were stuck on the closed door should now be able to continue on that main quest without any issues. Along with the major fix to the broken main quest, this V1.1.1 patch addresses a few other issues to improve the gameplay experience, which, don't worry, your ability to duplicate items has not been affected. If you're curious what I'm talking about, we have a guide video on it. If you do check out the video and want to get some duplication grind in, just be aware that Nintendo is probably looking at patching that out, since it definitely was not intended to be a mechanic at launch. Tears of the Kingdom is probably the most polished AAA game we've seen this year though, which is incredible. Looking at you, Jedi Survivor. The game lets you basically go into dev mode and build all sorts of outlandish things, and the game still plays perfectly. Aside from this one glitch with the main quest not progressing, everything else feels like it's been operating so well, even with the ridiculous things people have found to get through shrines and sneak into areas early. It's me, I'm the problem.
You'll probably want to clear some hard drive space on your gaming PC if you plan on downloading the upcoming Mortal Kombat game. It will require a minimum of 100 gigs of drive space. The other minimum requirements are an Intel i5 6600 or equivalent, 8 gigs of RAM, and a GeForce GTX 980 or equivalent. Recommended specs aren't too bad, with an i5 8400 CPU, the same 8 gigs of RAM, and a GeForce GTX 1080 Ti or equivalent. But you still need 100 gigs of free space. Mortal Kombat 1 is obviously not the first game to acquire that much space. Most recently, The Last of Us Part 1 remake on PC needed 100 gigs, and Call of Duty regularly needs massive amounts, but at least that game allows you the freedom to choose what elements you want to download to lighten the load on your drive. But I guess this is just the age of gaming we live in, where 1 terabyte drives only hold a handful of games and their updates. And that's not even factoring in all the DLC a game might have. Mortal Kombat 1 is the latest reboot of the fighting game franchise that sees Liu Kang, now a fire god, create a new reality where the other combatants can choose to either live in peace or continue ripping each other's spines out. It hits PC, PS5, Xbox Series, and Switch on September 19th. Somehow I doubt the Switch version will need 100 gigs of space. If you're one of the dedicated fans still playing Halo Infinite, the Callisto Protocol, and/or Forspoken, there's some new content and quality of life updates coming your way. First up, Halo Infinite is finally getting Infection Mode next month. The fan favorite mode originated in Halo 3, but has made appearances in several games since then. It's the series' take on a zombie mode where one team is armed with shotguns and the other infected team wields energy swords. When an infected kills a survivor, that survivor then joins the infected team. It will arrive on June 20th as part of Halo Infinite Season 4. A new mode is also coming to the Callisto Protocol today in the form of Riot Mode. It's that game's take on a Horde mode where you're given a handful of resources and need to last as long as possible against waves of enemies. However, Riot Mode will not be free, requiring you to purchase it separately or get the Season Pass, which includes the new mode and upcoming story content. You can get the game and the Season Pass in a bundle for $90 or buy the Season Pass separately for $30. And Forspoken is getting story content this week. Ahead of the release, a new patch has added the option to adjust the amount and content of chatter between Frey and Cuff. One might consider a quality of life improvement if you found their banter irritating.
We finally have some news on Spider-Man 2. It is confirmed by Insomniac to be single-player only. Now, this might seem obvious since the previous Spider-Man games weren't co-op, but this update comes after Miles Morales actor Najee Jeter went to SAC Anime to host a panel, and during a Q&A segment on the panel, Jeter was asked if Spider-Man 2 is co-op. His response was, "I believe it has been announced. I don't know if it's been announced or not, but I think so." He asked if the fan had seen the trailer for part 2 and said, "So that right there, if nothing is giving you a little sense of that, we're going to be having part 2 coming out soon. It's going to be crazy." So unfortunately, I think Jeter was confused on the matter and delivered some bad intel. Today, Insomniac Games responded to Twitter user @SeanLea4 asking if Spider-Man 2 would be co-op. Insomniac replied, "Nope, it is an epic single-player adventure." Not gonna lie, Jeter got my hopes up with that one. But Jeter did tease that we've got some more funny stuff because Miles gets clever with his webs in this one. To add to the statement, Games head of franchise strategy and studio relations Ryan Schneider had previously revealed their vision for the sequel in a PlayStation blog post. So maybe Jeter's statements on Miles' gameplay could be right and be more interesting this time around. While pushing the capabilities of the console will be exciting, we're equally pumped to craft all new stories for Peter and Miles in the sequel. Just as in our previous Spider-Man games, we not only want to tell a great superhero story, but also deliver a compelling human story, one full of heart and humor that dives deep into the people behind the mask. Crossing my fingers that we get a look at the game during the PlayStation Showcase this week on Wednesday, even though I am slightly bummed that Spider-Man 2 won't be co-op. But you know what? While we're speculating, I bet you there's a moment in the game where we'll have to play as Miles and fight Peter, who's been affected by the symbiote. At least, I think that'd be a super sick fight and sequence.
It's time to take a quick break. When we come back, the Netflix password sharing crackdown has officially launched, plus Seth MacFarlane has temporarily left the Family Guy team. See you in a bit. Welcome back. Netflix has officially begun its password sharing crackdown and will be charging customers extra. But first, with the ongoing Writers Guild of America strike, Seth MacFarlane has left the Family Guy production team to show his support for the writers. Let's find out some more.
Now, Fox was lucky there was a man who possibly can do all the things that make us laugh and cry. But now it appears Seth MacFarlane is leaving Fox in tears amid the ongoing Hollywood writers' strike. Now, the show creator and his showrunners walked out in support of the Writers Guild of America until an agreement is reached in favor of those crucial to what we see on screen, the writers. Now, Seth MacFarlane hasn't been as hands-on in recent years as it pertains to Family Guy, but as the voice of the majority of the main characters on the show, he's a vital part of the comedic delivery seen in the series. Now, fortunately, only for 20th Television, the syndication distributors behind Family Guy and American Dad, Family Guy's wrapped on its 21st season. But with only 2 months into its current season, American Dad, however, might still need some vocal finessing from the cast, especially Seth MacFarlane's Stan Smith. Now, according to Deadline, American Dad has a few months worth of VO and scripts already done, so they might have to employ some ChatGPT and voice AI to complete the rest of the season. So if the dialogue and vocals sound a little bit off, well, that's probably the reason. And no matter how many people out there can do a passable Family Guy and American Dad impression of the characters, replacing Seth MacFarlane with some random YouTuber probably just won't sit well with fans. You know, like me, I would love to do it, but I already know it's not gonna happen. Yeah, anyways, what we all need is for these studios to sit down and come to a fair agreement with the WGA so that the writers can get back to doing the work that they love and the studios can just meet their bottom line. If the studios care enough about the productions of its shows, well, they'll come to an agreement. But honestly, it takes powerful figureheads like Seth MacFarlane quitting his very own creations to show Hollywood how serious and important this entire situation is. Now, you might think you can replace writers, but when it comes to the brainchild of the series that's been making you tons of money over the years, it's not so easy to find a replacement. It's honestly nearly impossible. But you know what? Let's hear what you think about this entire ordeal. Are you on the side of the writers? With Seth MacFarlane quitting his shows, do you think this will move negotiations along quicker? And when was the last time you actually watched a Family Guy episode? Comment and let's discuss. Alrighty, now in other news, there's an Alien vs. Predator anime series that's all done and ready to go. Only thing is, Disney is just sitting on the 10-episode series, letting it collect dust in the Disney vault. Now, revealed on the Perfect Organism podcast, the former licensing director at 20th Century Fox details what happened with the anime series and why it didn't see the light of day. Take a listen.
Finally, we all come to an agreement. Everyone says, cool. We greenlight it and we go. We're making 10 episodes. It was going to be released as 3 direct-to-DVD and or streaming movies here in the West, 10 episodes on Japan television. This was going to be initially released on Alien Day in 2016.
Now, he goes on to talk about how he had various deals already signed for the anime series involving potential action figures and tie-in comics. And this whole thing was supposed to be one of the driving forces behind the announcement of Alien Day 2016. Now, though they still had enough content for the big day and the big announcement, it's just a shame we'll never see this anime. Now, I'm sure all us anime fans out there are screaming, but you know what they say about space. No one will hear it.
Netflix has hired Terminator, Predator, and Jingle All the Way star Arnold Schwarzenegger as its chief action officer. Announced in a promotional video on Netflix's YouTube channel, Schwarzenegger can be seen arriving at the streaming giant's headquarters in a tank.
No one loves action as much as I do.
Schwarzenegger then highlights a bunch of Netflix properties like Chris Hemsworth's Extraction 2, Henry Cavill's The Witcher, and Gal Gadot's Heart of Stone, providing his own commentary and promising that he's working around the clock to bring subscribers the best action on Earth. The film star's first TV series appearance, Fubar, was also featured in that video, showing Schwarzenegger in the spy adventure that premieres on May 25th.
Nobody knows action like I do, and nobody hits like Netflix.
Now, in case this wasn't obvious, this is more of a marketing stunt than a new career path for Arnold. He's not going into Netflix every day to make decisions about what action movies and series are coming to the streaming platform. But Arnold does have some experience making action movies. Which of his films are your favorite? Those comments below are waiting for your picks. Moving on, Star Wars prequel trilogy star Natalie Portman is up for returning as Padme Amidala if Lucasfilm asks her to. Responding to fan questions for GQ's Actually Me series, Portman replied to a Reddit post that asked if the character could ever return. She said, "I have no information on this. No one's ever asked me to return, but I'm open to it." Though her character's main story was completed in Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, the potential return of Padme would follow in the footsteps of co-stars Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor, who played Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi respectively. Both actors returned in the Disney Plus series Obi-Wan Kenobi, reprising their prequel trilogy roles 17 years after their previous appearances in Revenge of the Sith. Episode 1, The Phantom Menace star Liam Neeson also returned very briefly as Qui-Gon Jinn in the series. Padme's story was continued in other Star Wars media, such as a trilogy of young adult novels and in the Clone Wars TV show.
The day is finally here. Netflix just started enforcing password sharing yesterday, May 23rd. Netflix sent out an email to all US accounts who are suspected of password sharing, which says your Netflix account is for you and the people you live with, your household. In case you weren't using your account with just your household members, totally not something I do. Share with my friends. Who does that? You can buy an extra member to share your Netflix account with for $7.99 a month. So it costs $7.99 per additional user. This extra member would have their own profile and password with their slot being paid for by the owner of the account. But that person must activate their account in the same country as the account owner and cannot create additional profiles on their logins. The password sharing crackdown had been impending ever since January this year when Netflix said they were preparing to convert borrowers and make premium features available to subscribers. With the new account update, Netflix does allow you to transfer your profile, so anyone who's using someone else's shared account can move their current profile to a new account. The new policy on sharing passwords will be enforced on violating accounts from now to the end of June. How do you feel about Netflix finally bringing down the hammer on sharing accounts? Let us know. Staying on Netflix news, The Witcher Season 3 is arriving next month, which is also the final season of seeing Henry Cavill as Geralt. Lauren Hissrich, series showrunner, told Total Film magazine how they had considered moving on without Cavill. Hissrich said, "I mean, we had the choice to have Geralt exit and to end the show," she said. "But that's not something that we were willing to do. There are just too many stories left to tell. If we replaced Geralt with another Witcher, we would totally be going away from the books, and I don't think that's what anyone wanted either." Hissrich admitted Cavill's departure was tough news to take and said they'd been mourning it in their own ways. Back when Netflix had announced The Witcher had been renewed for a 4th season last year, Cavill had announced he was leaving the show and that Liam Hemsworth would be taking his place. Hemsworth said, "As a Witcher fan, I'm over the moon about the opportunity to play Geralt of Rivia. Henry Cavill has been an incredible Geralt, and I'm honored that he's handing me the reins and allowing me to take up the White Wolf's blades for the next chapter of his adventure. Henry, I've been a fan of yours for years and was inspired by what you brought to this beloved character. I may have some big boots to fill, but I'm truly excited to be stepping into the Witcher world." Hissrich is fully confident in Liam and even said, "We're all excited about Liam coming in. He's got enormous shoes to fill, but also has a lot of energy and a lot of excitement for it. We love what we're doing, so we're gonna keep it going." I'm so excited to watch the next season of The Witcher, though I am sad Cavill won't be coming back after. But the show has been amazing so far, so I'm totally excited to see where they go next. So we already knew the HBO Max to Max conversion was going to be bad, but I don't think we realized just how awful the turnover would be. The rollout, which started yesterday, was messy, and users took to social media to complain about the tech issues, login troubles, and just make fun of the new name. Multiple subscribers reported issues logging into their Max accounts, and others had issues logging into specific platforms with the new app, like on the Roku. Some users would log in and get kicked out repeatedly. A Max spokesperson shared a statement with IGN that said, "You must always anticipate issues on a tech rollout of this scale. We can share that only minor ones have emerged and were quickly remedied." Warner Bros. Discovery previously announced that some devices would automatically update the HBO Max app to Max, but users on Android, Apple, DirecTV, LG, PlayStation, Xbox, and Samsung TVs will have to go to the device's storefront to download an entirely new app. A lot of users were confused since most were unaware their apps would not automatically switch over. Subscribers took to Twitter to complain about having to download a new app just to transition to the new service, and others mourned the loss of some features lost from the turnover. Twitter user Kayla Fanoff posted, "HBO Max removing the upload a profile picture feature is the worst thing that's ever happened. Another tweet from Mario Emmett commented on the color scheme being changed and said, "If it ain't broke, don't fix it." Max is the new streaming service that has all of HBO Max's content and select additions from Discovery Plus, like HGTV and Food Network. Hopefully Max's issues can be resolved soon so subscribers can enjoy the content they're paying for without too many more days of downtime from the update. Have you ever wanted to own the hammer used by Tim Robbins to escape prison in Shawshank Redemption? Or maybe the Batpod motorcycle from The Dark Knight? Or that Princess Leia dress from the original Star Wars movies? Well, now's your chance. Over 1,400 items are going to be sold over 3 days from June 28th to the 30th in LA as a live auction ran by Prop Store, a company specializing in cinematic collectibles. Carrie Fisher's Princess Leia dress and the Batpod are estimated to bring in at least $2 million each in the live auction. The Batpod being offered up for auction is actually one of 6 made for The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises. It has a custom-made chassis with 31-inch Hoosier racing tires and a Honda 750 engine with 2 plastic, resin, and fiberglass cannon barrels at the front of the Batpod. You can't actually drive the vehicle though, since its battery, fuel tank, and throttle controls were removed, but you know what? For that low price of $2 million, it comes with a metal support stand to display. The auction is scheduled to run at the Peterson Automotive Museum with in-room bidding, but online and telephone bids can be placed as well. There are other items up for bid like Star-Lord's helmet from the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, the Thing's Spider-Head thing, Jason Voorhees' hockey mask from Friday the 13th Part 7, the cracked Mjolnir hammer from Thor: Love and Thunder, and way more. I'm Stella Chung, and that was your Weekly Fix. We'll be back here next Saturday with more of the biggest gaming and entertainment news of the week. See you then.